Welcome back to the Blast R6 Major in Copenhagen. We got the best of threes coming your way, starting off with MNM up against REVEN. I'm Ginny, your host, joined by Fresh and Pengu, and we're gonna really just jump straight into it. We already touched upon MNM and how their best of threes are way better than their best of ones, but something that MNM also seems to be on the verge of on is their defense.
Yeah, I think, well, their defenses have been generally quite good. Not as good as they usually are, 62% on their defenses, but I call them defense merchants, and I know that, you know, if it's any other team, they're probably not too keen on that, but M&M know that, and they've called themselves it as well. 45% on the attack. It's a big disparity. It's a big disparity. It's a big
English
inconsistency.
It is, honestly.
They're finding it difficult to be consistent.
Yep.
And they might have great defenses, but even though they do have some great moments there, they do find themselves being a bit inconsistent at times. But on their attacks, they do try and change things up, right? They're very adaptable, very dynamic. So I think in a best of three, they will thrive in this environment because they have more time to try more things.
Oh, I feel like you're already making statements in terms of who's going to be winning. I love that. We can do another bet if you want to.
Building towards it.
We can go for an uwu rather than a meow this time. But let's talk about REVEN, because that's the team that they're going to be heading up against. And this team has actually exceeded a lot of expectations here. They're in phase 2 at the moment. But one of the things that when we're looking at this roster, Fresh, is the lack of experience.
Yeah, I think there's a big lack of international experience coming out of this roster, you know, in terms of the fact that they're getting so overwhelmed inside the server, but they're probably also overwhelmed outside the server in terms of, you know, first land, traveling, at least one of the players across the continent, you know, they did travel from Mexico to be here as well. And a lot of the players haven't been here before. You look at some of the teams around here and you think, you guys live at LAN. It's just not that case for REVEN.
No, it's only really Joe who we've kind of seen before the T1 event, right? One thing, of course, they have is that they have a very linear or one-dimensional playstyle as well. So when you don't have experience and you only have one way of playing the game, if that certain way stops working for you, what are you gonna do?
You don't have the plan B, the plan C.
You don't. You just have your plan A, plan A, plan A, and then that's it.
Plan A, plan A, plan B, plan C, I guess, with 3 maps. We're going to be looking at the map veto to see which maps we're going to be heading on to and whether or not it favors either one of these teams. The graphic that's now showing up, I mean, we got Clubhouse, Oregon, and Villa. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to say MNM looks like they're having a good time.
Yeah.
All of these maps for me feel like M&M maps, and you know, knowing M&M and their map pool, I would say they have 4 very strong maps. Chalet is probably their best map. I can see why that's been removed. But then Clubhouse, Oregon, Villa are all, for me, very strong M&M maps. Now, you know, if REVEN don't have the map pool to kind of back up, you know, going to a skyscraper or theme park or, you know, something a little less linear, I do have to feel the map veto favors M&M.
Okay.
The one thing I would love to see from REVEN is some momentum, right? If they can win the first map and then build from there, maybe they can find some success, but they're starting on Clubhouse, not on Oregon, so I don't know how that's gonna go.
Okay, well, it seems like we're currently a little unsure. I mean, Fresh, it feels like you're very sure in terms of the map veto favoring.
I would feel that over the 3 maps,
Yes.
I think, you know, we talk about the experience.
Yeah.
Best of ones are one thing. But over the 3 maps, the experience, M&M have got this experience and they've got maps that they can go to. Even if there was a big shock and they lost their map 1, they will fancy themselves to win map 2 and 3.
Yeah, we've seen what M&M can do in best of 3's. Question is, can they replicate it? But REVEN, I mean, they're not a force to be reckoned with. They've gotten this far. Now, if you're wondering who's going to be walking you through the action, it's not going to be the 3 of us. We have Gus and Xanox ready instead. Do you guys want to throw in a prediction maybe for like an uwu?
I think M&M are going to win this 7-0, 7-0. That's my prediction.
Whoa! Okay.
2-0 REVEN.
Yay! We have a REVEN believer. Why are you guys laughing?
This is very polar opposites.
Yeah, absolutely.
7-0.
No, I mean, I guess you know what they say, opposites attract, and that's why you guys are a caster duo.
We do that.
So,
That's true. Love.
enjoy the cast.
Yeah, let's try this. There we go.
That was a bit awkward.
A little awkward. All right, let's get into this one, though. Could end up being an awkward match as well, especially if REVEN can maybe spoil the party. M&M come into this one, favourites, should be getting the job done.
Yep.
REVEN is a team that has only beaten one team at the major thus far. It's only Northampton that they've been able to successfully defeat. So M&M surely have got to get through REVEN.
I should clarify before, I mean, it's probably already happened. I've probably already been clipped and shipped on Reddit. I don't actually think REVEN are going to take this in a 2-0.
So you were lying to everyone?
I did.
You were lying to our desk.
It was a little bit of a lie. Stretching the truth is probably how I would frame it. But M&M should be favourites heading into this one. The map veto quite favourable for them. So it should be a 2-0.
Can I just say as well, what a desk. Fresh, Pengu, Ginny as well. Very much creative minds.
And then you've got us.
Very much creative minds. Probably the best that you could ask for on that desk. Very much now we downgrade here onto the cast. But best of 3, elimination game. So that makes it very much exciting for Reven. Can they beat a different team? For MNM, can they beat a team that they're expected to beat? They've obviously had a bit of a choppy kind of major thus far. 2 losses in a row to FaZe and G2, obviously 2 very difficult teams. And honestly, they did all right. 5-7 in the loss to FaZe, 7-8 to G2, so held their own. Obviously, the only wins that they've had thus far against Fury and Sandbox, those being in best of 3. So they're obviously prepared and experienced for this best of 3 now against Reven.
I think they will be kicking themselves though a little bit heading into this one, right? Both FaZe and G2, the 2 losses that have sent them into this elimination position, were both close. 5-7 on Border, 7-8 respectively against FaZe G2. Either one of those games in reality probably could have flipped the other way, right? And then you don't find yourself already playing from behind. Keep in mind, both of these teams, if they want to make it through to the finals, to the final phase, they need to win back to back.
To back?
To back.
3 in a row.
Best of 3s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of maps that you've got to win. That's not a lot of room for error. You know, just sort of touching on the maps as we go to Clubhouse first, when we kind of looked at the veto on the desk, one thing that sort of caught my eye, both teams basically getting maps that they've played the most here at the major. So twice so far for MNM on Clubhouse, twice as well for Reven. Villa, though, a map that we haven't seen Reven play thus far, and just the once for MNM. So I think that both teams are going to end up coming into this series pretty content with obviously the maps that they got respectively. Obviously, MNM should be pretty much firm favorites on Clubhouse. This is a map Reven have not even played at the major yet. So they're coming into this a little bit dry. They will be on the defense first. They'll get that opportunity. They'll get to go straight to basement, Church, Arsenal to begin, and they'll have to do well defensively. So all eyes here on Reven to see how they start against MNM.
And in the best of 3, you often do want to put your best foot forward, especially Reven, who are not going to be as necessarily experienced in this department, but it's going to be tough starting out on their opposition's map pick, and as you've mentioned, one that they don't have a whole lot of recent experience on. Now, I have well, it's not really a fun fact, it's more of a grim fact on the side of Reven.
Okay.
Heading into today, I had a look at the ratings, had a look at some of the numbers. No one from Reven has a 1.0 or higher on that roster. So unfortunately, they are struggling a little bit, and you know that is reflective in the fact that they only have beaten 1 team in the tournament thus far. For MNM, star player to probably look out for at the moment, Users. Heading into today, best entry in the tournament, I must say.
I will say though, and you do bring up that good point, Reven, though, I think all of their players have had almost a good day individually. You know, Runner back on day 1 against Northeption, he drops 14. I think Draw the other day had a really good match. Sam's also come up big in a couple of, I think it was the second map of the series against Northeption. Obviously, Joe has been a talking point at this tournament. Probably just feels like maybe it's down to Wrath to have a big one here. Everyone else has kind of had at least one game where they've really popped off, and I think more so they need to do it as a team collectively if they're going to take down obviously a team like MNM, who are attacking first here at Clubhouse, very much on the outside at the moment. Obviously, taking into account Reven's playstyle so far here at the Copenhagen Major, they do like to be aggressive on these entry points. See it there with Runner over towards Garage, and drops through Pit over towards Site. So he'll give up on that one pretty easily. One over towards Secret for Reven, everyone else downstairs in the basement to begin with, and there goes Joe. He goes for a very aggressive run, and it will work onto Nello. Takes out the hard breacher. There is still one more available with Nave, and the trade was there from Tyrant, but expect that from Joe. He gets one, but he does get done.
A lot of exposition from the 2 of us heading into this game. Again, quickly touching on the bans. No hard breach taken off the board. Yana exchanged for that, so MNM not wanting to deal with that. And that's probably to directly counter, especially Joe on entry, especially in the second half. And also takes a couple of nades off the board outside of that. Solace, Ying, Azami, both, or all 3 rather, all very on meta at the moment. Over to Solotov then. Soft breaching the floor, getting to work, creating lines of sight, but they go both ways. Draw will utilize that one to drop Nafe, and Reven have the advantage.
Yeah, not a bad start. You get double hard breaches off the board early. Obviously, you've still got some of these hatches, obviously Kitchen. Secondary breach is gone for Tyrant as well, so I think Reven will be pretty content with how things have played out. Obviously, bar opened up, same with Stock. Tyrant just watching now from this Stock hatch indeed. Reven still with that player advantage as well on a map or on a site like Church Arsenal. It's a good start. Solotov down bot main. Wants to look to put a little bit of pressure here in towards Moto. We'll get the drop. That's going to allow Users in through, and now they can put pressure on this wall. Down the corridor goes that nade. Doesn't find a whole lot. Potentially wants to clear out this Arsenal position. 20 seconds to go. fire out. Users can't really move a whole lot from here, but a nice shot from Solotov finds the kill onto Sam. Brings it to 3 versus 3.
Oh. Not bad there from Draw to get the down as Solotov goes for the plant. So it's just Tyrant to play coverage. Long for Draw, able to swing, but it doesn't matter. Solotov pops up, pops them both, and MNM get off to a good start.
Yeah, strange one there. So Kitchen Hatch stays closed because of the fact that they got the kill onto the double hard breaches, but then they allow the drop moto and the push down bot main as well, and there's not a whole lot of pressure. Didn't really see if there was a whole lot from Blue either. All things considered, Reven had the player advantage on a site that they probably should be winning defensively. You know, the start of the round here as well with Joe with the run out. He gets the kill outside of Secret. Yeah, he got traded instantly, but as long as he's getting one, as long as he's good for one, keep making those plays. Draw down below. Yeah, they gave them that advantage. And from here on out, though, it was just MNM winning the aim duels.
Yeah, pretty ballsy there from Solotov, right? At the end, under 5 seconds to go, he takes the initiative to get off that plant, gets both kills. The coverage there, obviously very difficult to lay down. In a 2v2, you're going for the plant, does effectively then draw it into a 1 versus 2. Makes it difficult. Reven tried their best to get inside of Church to deny, but they weren't allowed to. So good work there from Solotov. A 4K to kick things off. And MNM with the early lead.
Yeah, and it is their map pick as well. Not only MNM come into this series as the favourites firmly, but obviously on their map pick as well. And I don't think attack defense is really going to make a difference for them. It will be a repeat though for Reven, anticipating that they can maybe clean things up a little bit. But to be fair, I think they've got a lot that they really wanted to go their way in that round, getting rid of both hard breaches. Yeah, they'd opened up Moto and opened up stock, but alas, Joe, how does he go for another jump out? I think he's anticipating once again that this is going to be the kind of playstyle that they need to play against MNM. It's probably been when Reven are their most successful. It's when Joe is going for all these jump outs. You can imagine though, obviously MNM will be prepared for this, will be ready for this, and the Claymores have been brought by users.
Yep, so they've been a hot topic throughout this tournament. Joe's performances, they've been a little bit up and down, and often Reven having to shift their plans around his success in the early round, whether it be him aiding in an early advantage or falling. Draw lurking inside of Kitchen, and he's good for 2. MNM not clearing that position, and for Reven, it's now as easy as falling back to side and playing into this advantage.
Yeah, and it should be that easy, right? This is now where you can just sit down below. You've got the 2-player advantage. You don't have to do too much. You don't have to get risky. You don't even have to take these peaks. You know, maybe you shoulder peek Tyrant, get him to force out a few shots, but then give away his position. Then he has to think about potentially falling back and unable to push through Secret into Blue. Just over 90 seconds, so still some time, though, for MNM to think their way through this round. Don't have to rush things. Still double hard breach, can open up these hatches and give themselves, obviously, some different angles of attack for this round. Round's not over. And you've still got Tyrant as well on the Capitao that can make things happen, so 3 versus 5. MNM will be fighting back. That's going to be a Nitrocell just...
No, the breaching charge.
Oh, it was the breaching charge.
Friendly fire.
Yeah, it scared me as well. Well, there are Nitrocells still available, 3, in fact, so something that MNM will still have to be prepared for. I can imagine one might get thrown over towards bot main if they do make that push. Brought 4 into the round in Reven.
MNM preparing themselves then. 45 seconds. Doesn't look like triple wall will get opened up, so they're going to have to force a play elsewhere. Blue, a likely prospect. Util in the hands of Tyrant. They look to smoke and drop. Flame behind Generator, but Joe on the Warden can watch through this mirror window, watch through that smoke. Naif does get the first though. Runner falls. Joe flamed out, but he spots one inside of Generator. That's Nello who found a pick, but should eventually be traded out. Not long on the clock. MNM forced forward. The swing from Joe's good. The drop will probably also be punished in just a moment. It's not Joe, it's Draw. Nonetheless though, good response from Reven after a good start in the round.
Yeah, well played from Joe, just a bit of discipline. Obviously could have rushed things a little bit more there. You spot that player inside of Blue. It's very easy to get Trigger happy and want to swing that immediately off the information. Instead holds it, calls it out, plays off of it, and then gets the free kill once he gets a little bit more deeper in towards Generator. But it was this start here. This is the double kill from Draw through Kitchen. I don't know, maybe it was a misdraw, maybe they didn't drone out that position correctly, but they definitely didn't seem like they were that aware of his position up above. And at that point, it makes the round very difficult for MNM. Yeah, they kind of stalled things out, opened things up, still went through the checklist, even in the 3 versus 5, but yeah, Reven just have the numbers there on a very good statistic map for the defense. Over to Cash and CCTV, though, for the 3rd round. So Reven do bite back, at least, after falling away in the opening round. But surprised to see this site has fallen out of favor throughout 2023 in a lot of different regions as well. We're seeing a lot more bar stage come into the foray. And obviously, Gym Bedroom as well has become a bit of a staple for defensive teams. So Reven opting to go to Cash and CCTV is a little bit surprising for me.
5 seconds to insertion.
And I think that last round will maybe just annoy MNM a little bit, right? Because they banned out that Solace, they didn't drone out that position properly. And if we're being harsh and being really honest in this game, the only real way in which MNM genuinely lose this is if they make a lot of mistakes. They have a better team, more experienced roster. They should be winning this comfortably, right? But mistakes like that can compound if they aren't careful.
And the pressure can get to you. You know, imagine you lose your map pick, or at least it's close, and suddenly Reven can get some confidence, draw. Oh, that's a nice shot into Nallo. Oh, this is why they've been bringing double hard breach. They know that Reven's going to be very aggressive on the defense. They want these spawn peaks, these run-out kills, and so if you lose your one and only hard breach, that's not going to be good for the round. So fortunately, they've still got Nafe on the thermite. We'll open up this kennel's wall and immediately on the rotate up onto the roof, but another good start for Reven. Tell you what, 3 rounds in, and they've looked pretty decent. Probably should have won the first round. All things considered, they were in the better position. MNM, though, a little bit better in the clutch. 5 versus 4, Tyrant top main at the moment, and through Bedroom. Not a lot of presence, though, from Reven on this side of the map. So very much playing the rafters, the garage hold over towards Cash and CCTV. They are allowing MNM through construction, but they've just lost Solitov. So another 2-player advantage for Reven, 2 rounds in a row.
It's a little bit concerning, isn't it? Reven just being able to sneak these picks in the early round, but talk about sneaking picks. A nice one there from Tyrant to clear the box position. Nitro goes out a little bit early. Sam still with 1 in the pocket for the late round. Con will open. MNM will be able to posture for a push. One-sided lounge. Kelly Ping not quite enough to nap that kill. Tyrant might be able to find it on the rotation. Very aggressive there from Draw, but punished.
Yeah, Draw probably doesn't have to swing back there onto that fight. Yeah, he gets a bit of information because he gets shot through the wall on the yellow ping, wants to contest it. But it's a 4 versus 3 with like 45 seconds to go. You can play time. Not a massive entry point here for MNM through construction. Oh! Big swing though from Joe. All right, times it well. Nafe just kind of looked away for a split second. Gets punished. Now through garage, 4 users. Pushing through lounge will be Tyrant. He can push up red. Oh, no, he can't. Indeed, he gets stopped at the bottom of red stairs. Sam will get that kill. And Reven are going to take the lead here on Clubhouse early on.
So again, Reven will get the first 2 picks on defense and then close out the round in a relatively comfortable fashion. MNM need to be super hyper vigilant in the early round. Expect the unexpected. This is not going to be a traditional map of Clubhouse. This isn't your average game in the EUL. This is something that they have yet to face, at least in recent times.
Yeah, and timeout already. 3 rounds in. MNM have seen enough. They call the tactical. Not happy with the way things have played out, but I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here. I'm thinking about what are the biggest win conditions for Reven in this first half? Well, they're on the defense, right? So that's something that is leaning into some of their strengths when we think about these spawn peaks or we think about these runouts or the aggression. That's probably been their best success so far here at the major. So when you think about, okay, it's Clubhouse defense and the fact that it plays into their play style, this is the half they need to do well. So 2-1 lead probably by the end of it needs to be converted into 4-2 at minimum. So if MNM can just take this tactical time out, work on some things, play a little bit cleaner, be sharp, finish this half around maybe 3-3, I think they'll be pretty content with that going into the second half. I think Reven's ability to attack in the second half is going to be very questionable. Yep. So they've got to get points on the board in this half. They've started well. Arguably could have been up 3-0, all things considered. They're not though, 2-1, and now we head to Gym Bedroom.
And again, another, I guess, positive mark for MNM is that it's not the most difficult of mistakes to identify, right? So Julio, their coach, will be able to quite easily identify what's gone wrong. It's coming down to the early round, just not being quite aware enough of some of these aggressive peaks and plays that REVEN are going to look to execute. So if they can tidy that up and force late round executes, late round pushes, even if it's even, say a 5v5 or 4v4, MNM more often than not, you're going to back them in to win that against REVEN. They have that experience on their shoulders, but they just need to be conscious in the early round and not let a disadvantage sort of reign over them, because that's where REVEN are going to thrive.
Is it a catch-22 though, where you don't want to then end up in a position, say like Northampton, where they just spent almost a minute outside the map waiting for REVEN to make that jump out play, make that aggression play, and then it kind of alters and changes their own attacking nature. MNM do put away the claymores as well, not even going to bother to bring out those secondary EMP grenades though. Runner over towards CCTV. What's he going to do here? Should get droned out by Nello, and even if he didn't, has been shot out. So they do know that there is a player lurking around this area, and the extension here for Jim Bedroom. Runner sees enough. Probably doesn't have to show too much. Rotero is going to clear out that position at top red stairs. Has Joe, though, been spotted? Again, you're expecting REVEN to want to take these early contact fights. But these are difficult positions to hold, and this is a very aggressive push, actually, from Joe. Got red ping, will fall back. Oh, never mind, Nave. That's a big shot onto Joe. I thought he was going to get away, thought he was going to be able to make the rotate, potentially even down red stairs. And in the end, though, loses his life through the soft wall. 5 versus 4. And a better start to the round, though, for MNM.
Yeah, good use of the information there. The red ping forcing Joe back. Cut down, double wall bang to confirm that pick. And now MNM finally have an advantage. They can reset a little bit now, half the round to go. They can start thinking about plays around the map, but also consider opening up Jacuzzi as well in the late round, just to really put the blowtorch here onto REVEN, who eventually are going to feel the need to make a play. Second last Rotero does go out. That's one of 2 Vulcan canisters on the doorway leading to Con dealt with. So Solotov will likely want to burn the next, just opening up that passageway towards the objective. As I mentioned, Jacuzzi likely to be opened up and has been. So there's options available now to MNM.
Yeah, pressure on the balcony. Now Jacuzzi opened up as well. You still got 1 Vulcan canister at least on that doorway to Con. Use the Stow, holds the sight line, and Wrath will feel the pain of those shots. Use is just barely surviving the nitrocell from Sam. Another Vulcan canister actually on the breach. That drone, that's a risky one for Sam to go for. Instead, he goes a little bit aggressive over towards the breach. Wants to clear out this drone. It's in a pesky position. I've never seen a drone so tucked in before. Blows both canisters, 25 seconds, expecting the push now from MNM to make their way in towards Jim. Flashes will go out, and the push now will go. Nape with the diffuser will send it in. Not a lot of sightlines here for REVEN to stop this, and Eustace is covering it. He'll cover the hallway swing. Canisters go out. This is Draw that's going to go for it, and he loses his life. They'll get the diffuser down rather comfortably. Draw, in the end, actually went up in flames. Couple of kills for REVEN, but the plant down MNM in a good spot.
Heavy reliance here on the balcony, but there's also someone lurking in Con. That's Tyrant. Meanwhile, Runner on the diffuser looking to stick it. Will he be able to get it? He will. And REVEN able to sneak the round.
I had no idea. Runner literally just runs onto it, sticks it. That's a little bit of a tilter for MNM. They should have had that round sewn up. 3-1 to REVEN to start this one.
And what did they do after the last round, Jake? MNM. What did they do?
They took a tactical timeout.
And typically, your chances of winning the round after that goes up quite a bit, right?
15, 20%, something along those lines, yes. What did they do then?
Well, they just lost
the round. Not ideal, and a bit of a messy round. I like the way they obviously got the plant down inside the gym, nice and deep in there, and they were covering all of the rotations as well.
Where is Nello? He's just outside watching Con window.
Well, I don't think they're expecting anyone to actually get onto it. They lost that line of sight, obviously, and they were probably more prepared to say, okay, well, if they thought no one's on it, and so they think, okay, let's just watch the entry points. But obviously, Runner sneaks his way in, gets the counter defuse, REVEN get the round, and they get to go back to Church Arsenal. Getting to a 4th round here would be so critical for REVEN. 2 rounds to go in this half. This is MNM's map pick, and they don't look all that comfortable right now.
And you pose the question to me, off camera on the lead up to this game, would this be the upset of the major if Reven are able to get this one across the line? And I theorize that maybe, personally, I would think Reven making it through to phase 3 would be incredible, but again, they need to win 3 BO3s to get there, but it would still be quite the effort. Now, there's a long way to go. This is a long series, and the maps overall should favor MNM, but this start has been shaky, very shaky.
And it's been very promising for Reven. I mean, I came into this series expecting, and I even said it when we got the crossover from the desk, I was expecting MNM to just kind of wipe the floor with Reven, that they'd have too much experience and firepower, but evidently Reven are here to play.
Attackers have
They've only beaten one team at the major so far. That was the Japanese team, Northampton. Technically beat them twice. Once in a best of 1, once in a best of 3. And of course, that one in particular, if you think back to the 15th round of the 3rd map, Reven could have been eliminated. So, kind of playing with house money at the moment. But we're only 4 rounds in, long way to go in this. Naif looking to open up Kitchen. But it definitely feels like now it's up to MNM to turn the tide a little bit, focus up, play a little bit cleaner. They've just been a bit messy, and to Reven's credit, they have punished them. Free Vulcan canister, dealt with early here from Solotov. Nice work on the sledge in towards Kitchen. They're getting the pings out. He wants to go for this. Draw, aggressive. Nitrocell doesn't hit the mark. Still a couple more, 3 more, in fact, for Reven.
Oh, that was very, very close timing there. Draw, fortunate to survive, but plays it well. Solotov unable to clean up that pick. So 60 seconds to go at a 5v5. Reven unable to claim a characteristic early pick in this round, so we'll have to see how they play it out late round. Close, tightly fought in the execute. Mirror dealt with, so Sam under a bit of pressure. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the grenade will find Wrath.
Well, MNM's doing a lot right now. Clearing out site, clearing out utility, avoiding even the utility back from Reven. Nitrocell bot main hits nothing from Sam, so he loses a lot of utility now. Loses his life, uses on the drop through Moto. 2-player advantage for MNM. This looks so much better from them, so much cleaner. Not messing around now. Oh, that was flawless indeed. Solotov with a triple to close out the round. That's much better. That is what we expect from MNM.
And I think that round sort of backs up my hypothesis that I had brewing in the back of my mind. If MNM can push it to the late round, if it's an even man count, they should be clinical. They should be closing out these rounds in a confident fashion. Now, I guess the asterisk to that would be the previous round, Jim Bedroom in the post that did slip away. But this round just gone a good example of in the 5v5, MNM can systematically clear these power positions. It started off with that grenade. We then saw triple wall weaken. That allowed users to come across, find that pick. And you can see the red outlines. Everyone boxed into blue. Solotov then pushes late round. Very characteristic to have that single attacker through blue. Very nice 3K to well and truly lock out that round. And that's a round that MNM needed. They need that confidence heading into this last attack.
Yeah, and that's the kind of round as well where that's probably what I was expecting from MNM for the most part in this series. Those kind of rounds, those kind of plays, making Reven just honestly look a little bit second rate. That was just so clean, especially on a site like Church Arsenal. They got through the checklist really quickly, opened up many different angles of attacking opportunities. Yeah, a couple of good nades, especially the one in towards Church, but nevertheless, didn't really make a mistake, did they? Didn't really give Reven a good look in. Reven tried to get a couple of Nitrocells, none of them hit. They couldn't really get much in terms of a flank. No one elected to push up main. There was no flanks up above, so it was very much, as you said, just sort of sitting in sight, got pushed back. Now, here's the run, though, from Joe. Doesn't work. Solotov ready for it. Out of stock, gets the kill. So another opening kill there, 2 in a row now for MNM. Up 5 versus 4. Where's the next one going to come from, though?
Big one to win early on in the round. Joe left on cam duty for the remainder of this one. The final round of the half. Conwall breached, so some good progress early on here from MNM, and Tyrant will look to lurk the bedroom side here of Clubhouse on the top floor. Solotov may also look to assist. Draw elsewhere, lurking around, seeing if maybe he can isolate a pick, but MNM expecting them to be disciplined enough to just prepare themselves for that final push and not leak picks in the meantime. As I say that, I thought maybe Sam would win that duel, but Tyrant too good And it's a 5v3.
Yeah, just a bit cleaner there in the aim duel. That's all really the difference is there. I don't think Sam does a whole lot wrong, just misses the shot. Red pings here for Solotov, and Reven's defense starting to get picked apart like we probably expected it would be, but had themselves a decent little lead of 3-1. That looks like it might fall to 3-3 if they can't turn this one around.
Some serious
Knife opening up construction just further compounds the pain and the pressure to come with it. Utilizing these drones well, getting a lot of information, eventually got their way in towards construction. They can drone out sight now as well. Haven't dealt with Rafter's position. Raft trying to just help out, stack over. Draw losing his life at the CCTV window. Definitely not an ideal position to be in. And now they've lost another one as well in Raft, so only runner left. It might be back-to-back flawless rounds here. It will be, indeed, from MNM to close out the half. Much, much better from them. 3-3. And I don't know if they'll be content with that. They'll probably have higher expectations of themselves, but considering the position they were in to where they are, 2 flawless rounds in a row off the back of the timeout. Yeah, not a bad way to close the half.
Well, good first pick there from Solotov as we look back at the replays. Round number 6. MNM quelling some concerns. Still, though, not the best of position. We probably anticipated MNM to be a little bit cleaner. Yes, the scoreline, 3-3. Clubhouse attack, that's pretty solid. That's quite on par. But if you are just joining us, some of those early rounds were quite messy from the European roster. Well, it's a bit ironic that I say European roster in this game. But you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Because one's in the European League. That's MNM.
Yeah, where's the other one?
REVEN have several European players, but they play in the lights out.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Well, I think everyone's aware of that by now.
It's just an easy go-to.
Well, easy one to go to as well as Church Arsenal to start this second half for MNM, and this is where I very much expect their best. This is where it's going to be very difficult for Reven, I imagine, to break down these defenses. They can't be now reliant on those runouts from Joe to get those early kills. And those aggressive plays on the defense. Nitrocell out from Nafe, well watched from our wonderful observers, but Runner able to avoid it. Nafe will just fall back through pit and over towards blue. Question will be, though, how aggressive will MNM get here on the defense, especially on a site like Church and Arsenal. We saw Reven actually get pretty aggressive holds over towards Kitchen earlier in that first half. Obviously, as always, watching those entry points as well, the likes of Draw and Joe. Speaking of, now we'll just drone through logistics as Runner will push through CCTV, and they'll begin their clear.
Mute Jammers peppered around, just stalling out some of this information gathering for the roam clear. But Reven doing a decent job at expediting that process. As we can see currently, 4 defenders down below on the basement floor. Leaving just 1 off-site. Maybe that player tips out of dirt.
I'm pretty certain it's 5. Yeah, 1's in dirt.
Yeah.
So Nello's sitting in dirt at the moment, the other 4 on site. Tyrant was kind of lurking bot main stairs. And you can make that play where you kind of lurk very much on the stairs of main, and then you peek up once you start to see the attacking team get some kitchen control and go for a bit of a swing, see if you can maybe catch someone over towards bar or kitchen, potentially in the corridor if they're making a bit of a run. But we're not seeing any kind of aggression here from MNM. They will firmly sit on site. Hatches will now get opened up by Reven. Minute 14, not bad on the timing's sake. Doesn't look like they're opting to send anyone through dirt, obviously being held by Nello. One and only Nitrocell. Nave throwing his one out already. 60 seconds to go. No contact really has been made yet. It'll just be the 2 X-Kairos at a time, making sure that this does not get tricked properly. And Joe just watching to see if anyone wants to come and try and deny, but obviously no nades and no charges either. There is still 1 Salma available for Sam. He can come and open up this kitchen hatch, as it is Joe that gets the opening kill. So a little bit slow in opening up kitchen because of the X-Kairos running out, but Sam will save the day.
Time may not be an issue. It's an advantage now into a strong advantage for Reven. Well, even better, but a decent trade back from Tyrant. He'll look to link up with Nello, but unfortunately he falls, and now it's just the player inside of dirt, sharp with the SMG. Nello, good in the clutch experience. on those shoulders, but this will need to be one hell of a clutch, and Runner will dismiss that opportunity.
I was half expecting them to go a bit around the rosy there, because as Runner was making his way in towards Arsenal, we were seeing Nello make his way out towards the corridor, and I thought he was maybe just going to be able to slip by, get into church, stop the plant from going down. Doesn't though. Big round win for REVEN. Bit of a strange one as well. MNM just offered nothing really on the defense. It was firmly just a sit down on site, 5 bunkered down. Didn't really see a whole lot from them. Eventually, Joe's persistence actually pays off. A little bit of that patience, just watching that vert from above, got himself a nice kill, held it for probably a good 30, 40 seconds. Tyrant obviously gets a nice shot there, but unfortunately, there was just too much more to be done. MNM's defense, honestly, a little bit suspect there. REVEN will be very happy to get an early attacking round win on the board on a site like Church Arsenal as well. Puts them back in the lead, 4-3, and gets them a bit closer to maybe just pulling off an upset here on MNM's map pick.
Well, the game plan there from MNM is quite clear. They back themselves in again in the 5v5 in the late round when that push comes through to be able to weather the util, win the fights, play the post even if required. They're not eager to play high-risk siege at the beginning of the rounds like we saw from REVEN on their defensive half. But unfortunately, they did still succumb to a bit of pressure. A couple of sloppy missed positions from MNM proving costly, bleeding picks. Obviously, no opportunity to trade out those kills, so it left it in that 3v5, and REVEN, sure, again, they're not the most experienced roster, but they're going to win those out more often than not.
So far, Draw having a pretty decent game in terms of kills, but it's been a fair share spreading of the workload from REVEN across the board. That's probably what they needed. If you're going to win this series, everyone has to be pulling their weight in this series. Kennels will get opened up nice and early into the round. Quick drone for Sam, as they'll be looking to obviously repeat their efforts from the previous round here. Question will be, what do MNM do to adapt and get versatile, change things up? Can't just be sitting on site, can't just be playing passive defense. REVEN can punish that just as much as any other team here at the Major. Didn't really have the dirt presence last time, REVEN, but they may opt to do so now with Joe. Now, of course, his presence known through dirt. Joe's aware of this, and we'll just hold the angle for now.
Grenade cooked, sent out, on its way, but it won't really find all that much. Joe will likely now make his way across over towards kitchen and kitchen hallway nearby, open up some vert with that sledgehammer. Good spot there. Takes down the Valkyrie camera. An operator that doesn't frequently sneak through the ban phase, but in exchange for an Azami and Sols, it does make sense. Naif elsewhere, Electro Claw in hand, eager to try and trick a hatch or two. And it looks like Wrath, well, he's going to make his way over there eventually inside of stock. We'll just open up Moto initially, and we'll see if Naif will be able to trick this second hatch.
Yeah, and obviously last round there were some issues as well with the ex-Kairos, so
yep,
something to keep in mind as that one does get tricked. They ran out. It was a bit of a late round scramble from Sam to save it with the Salma in the last round. Nade from Joe down below, try and flush out that position. Still haven't opened up kitchen. 50 seconds, by the way. Time is certainly a factor in this round. So 4 ex-Kairos just go on to this kitchen hatch, look to open this one up. Drone from Joe can send this one down below. They got plenty of them, so information can be found late round here for REVEN. Hatch has been opened up. Now pressure over towards triple wall through bot main from Sam, so they can start to open up this church position.
And the impact trick there, not quite landing for the defense. So triple wall open. REVEN could look to prepare for a plant behind Black Box if that's what they want to achieve, but Solotov gets the first. A 4v5 now for REVEN.
After 10 kills now for Solotov. Man, that is on a mission. Drop for Sam. Will it be successful? Spots one over towards Arsenal. It's Joe that loses his life. Shotgun up close on the porthole from users. And REVEN this time are on the opposite side of what we saw in the last round. They now are getting picked apart flawless for the 3rd time in this match from MNM. But despite 3 flawless rounds, it's only a 4-4 scoreline.
Yeah, so a good response then from MNM being able to lock out that round. Solotov doing a lot of work for the roster at the moment, gets that opening pick, applies a lot of pressure then on the remaining attackers to try and find a response. But MNM in good positions, REVEN struggling to put pressure on said players. They did a decent amount of work on triple wall. They had a route in towards site for the plant, but unfortunately they did not have the manpower. Scoreline now sits 4-4. We go over to Cash and CCTE. The castle in play for this round from MNM, so looking to probably stall out and prevent lurks from the attack again, especially the likes of Joe, who maybe even enter basement or the other side of the map, make their way across. And these castle barricades, this castle setup can help to slow that down and may also facilitate a hold inside of Lounge.
Oh, bye-bye.
But it looks like we've had a disconnect. So MNM will get to do that setup all over again.
Good practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a fun one, though, as we do obviously get a technical. So 4-4 is the scoreline going back into this. I guess this will be obviously a little bit of a break here, and I think maybe both teams might need it. It's been a fun one to watch thus far. Obviously, MNM won't be content with the way that things have played out, especially on their map pick. I think Reven should be arguably, I think, quite happy with this. At this point, going into this technical, I think they can actually get a little bit of a breather, because in some ways it feels like when MNM win, they're clearly been far more thorough when they win. 3 out of 4 rounds that they've won, flawless, clean. Whereas for Reven, they're fighting tooth and nail for these round wins, right? They're having to dig really deep. So they're probably under a little bit more of that pressure in these rounds that they can win. I think a little break here might do them wonders. Obviously, for MNM, you could say the same thing, but I think this is a good opportunity for both teams to just have a breather. It's been quite back and forth and probably hasn't played out the way we expected. Maybe you expected this to be slightly more defender favored, but the attacks from both teams have actually been pretty successful, especially on sites like Church Arsenal.
Well, we can see off screen that the players are slowly filtering back into the lobby, so hopefully this won't be the longest of pauses in the action. In terms of tactical timeouts remaining, reiterating that this is a technical, but tacticals that the teams can call. MNM used theirs earlier, back in the first half. Mixed success off the back of that, but enough to equalize the half. Reven, importantly, still have theirs in hand. So if this starts to slip out a little bit, perhaps even if MNM go on to win the next round and Reven want to halt that momentum and even out the scoreline again, they have that opportunity. And I've got to agree, I think for Reven, this is a decent result thus far. This is MNM's map pick. This is Clubhouse. This should be their bread and butter. But it has been very, very mixed for them, which is weird, right? We've had some great showings from MNM.
Yeah.
We've seen some great executes, some great rounds overall, but we've also had some disasters, some big mistakes as well.
Yeah, and to reiterate as well, no rounds played, sorry, no map of Clubhouse played from Reven so far at the major. So this is their first showing of it, whereas played twice from M&M's side of things. It doesn't look that way, though, with the way that this game is played out so far. I think M&M will be pretty chill. This is why elimination games are best of 3. This is why you don't play best of 1s to send teams home from the major. It gives you some time, and even if they lose this map, they'll probably still back themselves in on Oregon. Next map to follow, Villa the Decider, if you guys missed that one. And for those potentially unaware, but this is an elimination match. You lose this series, you lose this best of 3, and you go home. Winner just keeps staying alive. They don't go anywhere. You stay alive.
Staying alive. I am not very good at singing, as was probably evident at karaoke last night.
Luckily, we're getting back into this game, as I can see here on our other monitor. So 4-4, back into the things we go. Cash and CCTV in the 9th round. And M&M will get to do their setup once again here. It's been a lot closer, though, than I expected. And then that's at least something that is exciting. I came into this series firmly expecting an M&M win, pretty comfortable one. And it could still play out like that. I mean, how many times have we seen these kind of 4-4 scorelines, bit back and forth? It's not that difficult for a team as good as M&M to just now win 3 defensive rounds in a row. It's not impossible. Then it ends up being a 7-4, and you don't really think back fondly on the game. Even though I think it's been pretty close. I think Reven's had their fair share. They've just got to keep it up. They've got to stay focused. Out of the technical timeout for both of these teams. They get a bit of a breather. And as you said, Reven still with the tactical. I think you called it, though, if they lose this round. I know it sounds strange, but you don't want to give M&M that match point. And Reven's basically been leading the whole way. Either tied or leading.
So very big focus on Lounge from the defense here. M&M looking to lock that down, probably not wanting roamers on the attack, lurkers on the attack, being able to exploit those positions, especially vertically. Mirror window on the main breach, but it's elsewhere where the action kicks off. Solotov onto Joe Off the back of that rehost, the stats did reset, but Solotov, I believe, now on, what, 11 kills at least in this game?
Yeah, he had 10. So 11 now would be the case. I do like the Montang here. Can aggress over the wall. It's garage, push up rafters. That doesn't work. You can technically push through lounge as well, then up red stairs. So versatile eventually. You could also go through con if really required. It's a strong pick here for Reven. Down a player though in Joe. Can't remember. I think it was Fresh saying that there's two sides of Reven, one with Joe, one without. Now they're gonna have to play without him. 4 versus 5. Now they're getting a lot of information actually through lounge. He can see these feet, spots the drone to his right into his stock. Tries to get a little bit of a love tap onto Wrath on the Montang, and did so successfully. Just over 90 seconds remaining, and Reven had been stalled out.
And Nello just looking to play patient in this position, feed information to the rest of the team. If MNM can hold this position as well, it facilitates the triple nitro denial available as well to the defense as they can rotate down and play off that. But Reven, a long way away, I think, from attempting a plant. Draw, eager to push this lounge position to try and exploit it. Wrath can push forward. That Montang shield extended, but it's taking a lot of time and a lot of manpower.
Yeah, time, the main factor here. Only a minute remaining, and you haven't really gained a whole lot. Even just barely able to get a look in through lounge, let alone a foothold. Very much scared. They just look scared in this attack. Credit to MNM, the perceived pressure is there. A lot of that courtesy of Solotov. Had to be very careful. Turnaround shot's perfect though. On to draw through blue. Yeah, this round's over now for Reven. You would imagine in a 5 versus 2, Nitrocell falls well short. Maybe more so just in anticipation of a push from Runner. Tries to take this duel, obviously wants to push forward, takes out the Nitrocell. 30 seconds though, hard to imagine a way that Reven can salvage this round. Absolutely bullied by Solotov the whole way through, start to finish. They still can't even kill him. And in the end, it's the pistol shot.
15 seconds
MNM are on the verge of their 4th flawless round here on Clubhouse. Unless Sam finds a kill, he does onto Nello, shuts down the flawless, but it's MNM that are gonna take the lead here on Club.
Oh, the smiley face got ruined. And look, I don't think there'll be too many smiles on the faces of Reven at the moment. MNM doing a great job crawling back in this game now with map point. And the big question now is, will Reven respond with a tactical timeout? MNM rather on 5 rounds, not 6. So I misspeak there from me, but yeah, Reven electing not to take that tack. They'll look to play this one out, but sucked in a little bit there, I think, to the extension down below through lounge, and Solotov allowed to run right on the basement floor, just aren't able to be pinched, to be traded out in a meaningful fashion. Not a lot of information available there, seemingly, to Reven on the attack. And unfortunately, they do bleed picks. It's another multi-kill there, 3 in the round for Solotov.
Yeah, a bit of creativity there defensively from MNM. Love the way that they set that up. They pretty much played into the hands of Reven, knowing that if they're going to bring that Montang, they've got the vert as well to watch. They, as you said, very much fortified that lounge position, made it very difficult to push through. I wonder if Reven maybe should have just adapted, rotated off, gone through con instead, especially with that Montang. Obviously, though, Solotov had already done so much damage in that round. And then even tried to hunt him down. That didn't work, lost another, and then the round just falls apart. Over to Gym Bedroom now. And a good opportunity for MNM to close this map out. Starts to loom on the horizon. 5-4 lead. They take the lead, I think, for the first time since the opening round of this map. It is their map pick, but it's not quite been all that easy for them. Reven has made them work.
So then CCTV breach. Kennel's wall opened up swift and early on here by Reven. Final defensive fortifications now up for the defense. Interesting setup over towards Jacuzzi. Just the single wall reinforced to the left, footholds to the right, just to try and make that a little bit more awkward for the attack, an opportunity for the defense to impact trick denial if they so wish, but also just making it generally more precarious for the attack and a little bit more risky. But Wrath plays it well, plays it in a safe fashion from distance with the Selmas. Draw comes alongside now over towards balcony. And we know how much pressure this can put on the defense if they're not careful.
Yeah, and on Jim Bedroom as well, don't have to be too pressed for time, obviously. You can get these balcony positions, get the jump ins if you really need to. Joe finds the opening kill on to Solotov. That's a big one. Might get a second here, and does, getting the head of Tyrant. So a quick double from Joe in towards Con. Now opens things up for Reven. Draw positioned over towards Jim Bedroom as well. Hasn't really given away a whole lot of presence either. Still just watching over towards Jim. Users is very much just tucked in. These are the kind of rounds, though, that Reven cannot lose from this position. They've got to capitalize. MNM certainly capable of still winning 3 versus 5, but Reven have such a significant advantage. Hello, just watching closely on that doorway for the push from Con. User starts to push out a little bit, then back over towards his little cubby. 3 drones remain for Reven, 50 seconds left. Joe, very low on health. If he pushes out through that doorway, I think Nello will get a pretty free kill.
Needs to try and get that util out. 2 nades in the pocket. Now they're holding down the line. Gets the down. As you mentioned, pretty free with the 1.5 times scope. 30 seconds, the impact to confirm that kill, and it just keeps things a little bit more interesting here for the defense.
Just clearing out these final bits of utility for the push in from Reven. So to their credit, they haven't just gone gung-ho for a bit of a rush here, trying to get as much information. Now they can play off of each other, strengthen numbers in the push through logistics, and that should work for them. They do go for a bit of a slow. Never mind, doesn't work at all. Too slow on the push, and they get punished from a 5 versus 3. MNM do bring the round back, and they've got 2 match points.
Who said drop shotting's dead? The mirror users finding that 2-piece in through logistics. That should have been your everyday trade, but unfortunately it was just absolutely decimated there by the defense. And MNM now actually on that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to have a tactical timeout after that one. I mean, I'm a little bit perplexed here because I don't actually think they did a whole lot wrong. They cleared out a load of utility, bided their time, didn't rush, didn't do anything too crazy. Okay, we're going to get 2 together, push in towards logistics. We know there's 1 tucked in. It's a 2-on-1. We'll swing at the same time. We should get the kill. What does users do? It just gets the drop, gets the double kill, and it just really cleans up the round from there. And then, obviously, you've got the other positions that are being watched from Nello. He hits his shot, he wins his one, and suddenly it all just falls apart. And that's why, especially on the defense, yeah, 2-player advantage for the attacking Reven. But if you don't hit your shots and if you're not clinical on the push, the defenders can still win pretty comfortably. Credit to MNM. 2 match points, very much deserved. Reven out of the tactical timeout, though. What can they do to maybe bring this map back and send it to overtime? It's a difficult task at hand for them. That was another round where probably similar to the actual opening round of this game. They probably should have won it. So 2 50-50 rounds that have gone the way of MNM and 2 match points to follow.
So then we go down to basement for what MNM will be hoping is their final round here on Clubhouse. Map 1 in this elimination best of 3. At the conclusion of this one, we will send home the first team in the second phase, the playoffs.
10 seconds remaining.
MNM just being able to edge out a couple of close rounds in this match so
5
far.
seconds remaining.
Capcam being employed here for the map point round, looking to maybe catch off the likes of Joe on the entry. And as has been mentioned a couple of times by yourself, by Fresh as well on the desk, Reven often having to shift their plans around Joe, and we've seen that in this game. There've been multiple instances where he pops off on the entry, he gets that first kill, he finds a defender caught off guard, but there's equally been plenty of times where he himself falls early on, and especially on a site like Basement on Clubhouse, you cannot be going into that push with a man disadvantage.
And that a 2-player advantage in the last round didn't do them much world of good. Credit to MNM, though. I mean, really, as this game has gone on, they've improved. They've looked a little bit sharper and cleaner, really, as the match has progressed, regardless of defense or attack. They've just looked a little bit cleaner. It's taken them a while, but they've warmed up. Solotov starts to feel aggressive over towards main. In fact, swings all the way in towards kitchen. Freebie. Bye-bye, Joe. Good trade by Runner. At the very least, you've got to be getting those trades, and they do. They do punish the push from Solotov, but he'll take out the sledge, so a lot of that soft breach potential inside a kitchen has at least been dealt with for MNM. I'll be pretty content with the fact that they got the sledge.
Yep. net positive, right? You take down Joe, can be very dangerous in the fragging department. Solotov already getting his EDD utility out in the preparation phase. It also means on the side of the attack that there'll be 2 grenades missing for REVEN in the remainder of the round.
Oh,
good
not
trip
good.
there with the Electro Claw from Users. Big impact in the last couple of rounds from him. 4 kills. We saw a huge clutch up from him in the previous round, and now even in the util department getting to work. So a 4v4, but on the balance of everything, MNM currently on top.
And only the one hard breach as well for REVEN. And they've still got to open up Moto. I don't imagine they're going to be able to put a whole lot of pressure on this triple wall either, let alone the fact that you got Tyrant that's obviously tricking it with the shock wires. This is going to be a very fortified site for MNM. They'll be very happy with the way that this round has played out. One over towards Dirt, everyone else pretty much on site. 40 seconds remaining. It really just comes down to whether or not REVEN can hit some good shots on the drop downs and on the push through bot main. That's literally their win condition now. They're not going to have a whole heap of angle of attacks. 30 seconds remain. 4 versus 4 at the very least, but you'd back in MNM from here. Good little tag onto Sam, gets him low. And no, there's one still over towards Dirt. One more gas babe available for Nello as well, as the smokes will go out. 15 seconds, the drops will have to follow, whether they want to or not. And Wrath is in, he can get the plant down inside of the smoke, watching the corridor. Runner, is he good for one? Not yet, not at all. In fact, shot in the back. 3 versus 2, and there's no time now remaining for REVEN. This map is over. MNM will take it in the end. A clinical display in the second half from MNM to close out Clubhouse, their map pick, and 1-0 up in the series.
I remember things 7 years ago.
Naquela época, tudo era menor.
Mais en chacun d'entre nous, la flamme brûlait déjà.
Über die Jahre sind wir zusammengewachsen.
Y hoy son millones los que nos apoyan. 皆さんの応援は我々の原動力です。
Ve sevdiğimiz işi yapmamıza olanak sağlıyorsunuz.
และสิ่งเหล่านี้จะเป็นไปไม่ได้ถ้าหากเราไม่มีพวกคุณ
Devemos tudo isso a vocês.
Därför vill vi säga
Gracias.
obrigado.
ขอบคุณครับ
Danke.
ありがとう。
Kiitos.
Merci.
From the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
When you have two teams from the same region going up against one another, you're best friends. But in the server, you want that win. You want it so bad. Our two Brazilian teams in the grand final for the first time ever. Ninjas in pajamas!
Some tournaments you have a better feeling about winning, and that one, it was ours.
Our second Brazilian team, Team Liquid!
NIP was very well prepared. They were like top 1 team in Brazil.
It goes to Brazil no matter who wins it, but for NIP, it means a lot.
We lost to SSG a year before, and then we knew like in our hearts that this invitation we need to win, you know.
It was a very difficult time for us as a team.
It was pretty hard, like especially because of what happened to me at the moment. Like I lost my dad during the competition.
In that final, I think Liquid kind of won people's hearts because of the tragedy that had happened, but because they had also played incredibly well throughout the tournament and through the grand final. They gave us an incredibly entertaining game.
Sidecore goes big with 4 kills to push them over the line on Cafe, and that is going to be NIP 2-0 on maps. There you go, the kill comes in. He knew exactly where the man was coming from, and that's going to be Team Liquid taking our second map of Chalet. Palu, 1 second left to go. Diffuser goes down in the absolute nick of time, but Moringa, he gets a huge kill, Des! He gets a huge kill! We're going all the way to 5. We're going to find out who really is the best in Brazil. Palu cannot find the kill. Out comes the Nitro. Shot out by Pino. That is the round in 2020. Brazilian hearts were broken, but like a phoenix, NIP rise from the ashes to claim the hammer at the 6th Invitational 2021.
It was one of the best days of my life. I think we can compare that as a Brazilian team winning the World Football Cup.
I think winning the 6th Invitational was the best feeling ever I had.
Was the best moment of my life in the sports scene for sure. I was crying a lot. I was out of control.
We were very sad to lose, but we understood the limits of the team at the time, and we were very proud. But also it was very nice to see another Brazilian get a title.
After that SI, like I think it was a motivated thing to grow as a region and make it through a lot of other tournaments.
At the end of the day, everyone is just friendly. So yeah, we have a very nice relationship.
The friendships run deep and it goes beyond shouting and cheering on stage. You know, all of that is part and parcel of this. It's a respect that is given and earned between these players.
It's an awesome feeling for everyone, you know, not just us. We win for everyone.
Welcome back to the Blast R6 Major. I'm Jeannie. We got Fresh and Pengu once again. We also have MNM up against Reven, and the loser is going to be heading home. MNM are already up 1 map, and we kind of touched upon that saying going into this, it looked like the map ban was very heavily in their favor. But I want to start off with how MNM started off Club, because there was a little bit of frustration going on.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Reven, you know, they've got a pretty unique style in the way they play, but also they played to really try to disrupt MNM. You know, the first kill of the entire best of 3 was Joe jumping out of Adam window and going all the way around to garage. You see the spawn peek here from Draw. You saw Draw, you know, ratting in kitchen on round 2. They really played for that disruption. And actually, there was a time after 3 rounds from MNM, Reven had gotten under their skins and really had them rattled at a point in time.
I was gonna say they definitely did, because the player faces from MNM was like, oh my god, we're actually losing this. This should not be happening. And I'm worried for them because, as I said earlier, if Reven took the first map, that's where MNM they start losing out.
And I think the one thing we've seen from MNM, you know, unfortunately in this phase 2, is they have been losing. Obviously, that's why they're in this match. And their frustration has been, very evident to see when they have lost. And I think it did start spilling over in that, in the map. They were very inconsistent though. And I think that was, the big thing for MNM is that they were either getting really frustrated and Reven were capitalizing it, or they were getting a flawless round. There was basically no in-between across the whole match.
Yeah, and speaking of Reven, they really played to disrupt MNM. That was their main focus here. And not to take anything away from them, they made them sweat for this one.
They did, and I mean, on the defensive side, where Reven, they started things off, you can play those utility operators like the mirror on defense, for example. You can play Valkyrie cameras, but when they go on the attacking side for Reven, that is, they lose out on those opportunities. They had to force these plays instead, and that's where MNM, they could thrive on defense, played nice and safe and tight, and that's how they found those victories.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to get into the frustration part. So we've seen attack timeout from MNM, and then it goes into 3 flawless rounds, which is a pretty impressive place to be in yourself. So Pengu, this might be more directed towards you with that experience that you already have under your belt. But as a pro player, what is the mental stage? What is the switch that you can hit to go back and be like, okay, we can do this flawless back-to-back?
I mean, honestly, it has to be, we take this round by round by round, right? Look at the KDs, for example. If you are on Reven's side, noticing some flawless rounds happening against you, and Solotov doing so much work, going 15-6, go try and isolate Solotov and try and shut him down, because right now, he's the star member from MNM. And if you can do that, maybe find a way back. However, if it's more of a team presence, it can be tough to figure out what the issues are. And for Reven, they tried to fight it out, but in those last 4 rounds, as we see here, they just lost it either on time or on kills.
I think we're seeing from Reven again is that when teams, and this probably comes back into the experience point, these guys ultimately were 6 months ago, 9 months ago playing tier 2, tier 3 inside of Europe. When these teams that are established, that have been to these events, turn up and play their better Siege, Reven are really going to struggle to hang with that, particularly, even in just the gunfights department. Coming into this map, there was only draw that was actually positive in 7's KD. Probably after this map, negative as well. So, it's going to be a struggle for them. And MNM, it will frustrate them because they can play excellent Siege. They have played some excellent rounds of Siege there, but just not enough consistently and not enough string together.
Yeah, that could be an issue moving forward because we have Oregon. This is the next map that we're going to be looking at. English is a little difficult today. That is the next map that we're going to be looking at. It will be Oregon. So Reven here looking to push this to a 3rd mapper. MNM want to close this out. They don't want to get that frustration rolling. So what are we expecting from either one of these teams?
I would love to see Reven do something crazy, not just go into this, be like, okay, elimination match. I don't mean jump out every single window kind of crazy, right? I want to see them try and flex some operators, right? Show us a Monty. Could you imagine Reven playing Monty well?
No.
But what if they showed us that they could, right? For example.
True.
I want to see something like that, something that we have yet to see from them.
So here was my worry about the maps. When we go into the map bans, is that I've seen MNM a lot of times on Oregon. They're comfortable taking any team to Oregon. It's not their favorite map, but it is a map that they will always play against people. So for Reven, picking it was brave, but they will have had a lot of VOD footage on MNM because of that. That's
a good point.
Although Oregon has been probably the most successful hunting ground for Reven, they won the very first game of the entire tournament on this map. So I think they were kind of shoehorned into it. It is their map pick, and obviously, if they want to have a chance of going through to tomorrow, they've got to win it.
Yeah, it does bring the question though, when you pick Oregon, do they have something cooking?
They should. They should. But again, Oregon also is what we say, like if you're a linear map, most teams, even if they are tier 1 best teams in the world, most go with the cookie cutter standard stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, they're going to be MNM will be starting on the defense. They'll be starting on the basement, the laundry supply.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
If anything's cooking there, it's got to be something fast into there. Try and work out how to win that fight.
MNM playing Clash? Question mark?
Question mark?
Maybe.
Well, all the question marks are going to be answered as we're going to be heading into the 2nd map of this best of 3. Oregon coming your way with Gus and Xenox.
So, do or die. Reven have to win. They lose this map. If they do, they go home. It's as simple as that. 2-0 though on Oregon thus far at the major. Both wins coming against Northampton on this particular map for what is their map pick here in now a do or die scenario for Reven. They've been the talk of the town here at the major. Maybe not for all of the best reasons, but nevertheless, a team that has been in the spotlight. For MNM, though, very, very good second half. Got them through Clubhouse after a little bit of a scare in the first half. Things weren't quite going to the script, but they responded strongly.
Yeah, there were some inconsistencies. There were some concerns on the side of MNM on map number 1, but they did a good job closing it out in a confident fashion and can kickstart a bit of momentum here into their opposition's map pick as we enter the ban phase. MNM will be starting out on the defensive side here on Oregon It's Thatcher and it's Ying off the board on the attacking side. So that's going to hemorrhage the ability for teams to open up some walls and clear some utility. And Ying is very powerful on the execute nature of this map, so she won't be played. Azami to follow up, so that's slightly less utility that will need to be dealt with by the defense, and that will be rounded out by Goyo. Okay. So that leaves the Valk, that leaves the Mirror. Yeah.
Leaves the Solus as well. Leaves a lot really available. I'm trying to think, obviously for Goyo, can be very strong on Oregon, and obviously could even be a target pan over towards Reven's side of things. They will be attacking first, Reven, so coming into their map pick, a little bit of pressure off somewhat in the first half. Probably not expecting them to go absolutely insane. If they can get 3 rounds, I think they'll be pretty happy with that. Oregon at times very much can be favoring the defense. We'll be heading down to the basement laundry supply to begin with for MNM on their defensive half to start with here on Oregon. One map away from moving forward in this tournament, staying alive and sending Reven home. So a big couple of rounds coming up for these two teams. If required though, Villa would be the third map if Reven can find success here. If Reven don't win this map, guys, they will end the tournament having only defeated one team. It's such a staggering stat considering where they're at in the playoffs.
Well, they've got a bit of a mountain to climb, and it all starts here on Oregon, and MNM, as expected, a solid performance there on map number 1, and they head us to basement for round 1. Here on the second map, final preparations in place, and Solotov playing contact over towards small tower. A very early Nitro cell, perfectly lands in the window, but Runner anticipated it. He was playing at a distance, and now he can look to link up with Jaw and maybe push this position. Solotov still lurking around, but eventually makes his way back to Freezer.
And was a bit of a talking point on the desk as well. 15 and 6 from Solotov on Clubhouse, very much led from the front, which is what you want from one of your star players. Was discussed that for Rev, and maybe one of their win conditions is to kind of shut him down, make sure he can't have as much of an impact. Might be difficult to do though early on here on the attack. Joe does get a little bit of a tag over towards Tyrant near backstairs, push through Draw now towards bot white. But slow and steady is the approach here for Reven on Oregon. They'll feel a little bit more comfortable, I think, here on Oregon. Played it twice so far at the major. Remembering Clubhouse that played first. That was the first time that Reven have played it in an official at the major. So Oregon should be a little bit more comfortable for them. Taking their time so far. They have got meeting control. Now they can get to work on the checklist and open up these hatches.
Meeting is electrified off though by that claw. We go back to Nallo, still holding down the line. He sees the barrel and then the head of Draw and takes it off cleanly. The hatch still being worked on. Reven probably should not be pushing that stairs position without pressure on the hatch.
Yeah, I think George just maybe got a little bit over eager. Goes for a bit of a shoulder peek, didn't get any shot. Good discipline from Nello to not bite on the first pump fake, and then gets him on the push. Joe tries to just push down in towards Laundry and just try and open things up a little bit, but at the moment he's just struggling to actually have an impact and maybe forced back. 55 seconds, Reven. There you go, there's a shot for Joe. Solotov gives him one. Pushed out, maybe a little bit over-aggressive. Joe tucks in, expecting the push from the right-hand side, but it's Nello that holds close with the shotgun. If he makes his way past, Joe will lose his life. 4 versus 4 with 40 seconds to go. He'll look to cook this nade. Bit of a misthrow, though. Completely whiffs over to the right-hand side, and the Nitro Cell will catch him. MNM with the advantage, but the Logic Bomb will go out from Wrath.
So a tough position now then for Reven. Smoke canister over towards Freezer, stalling things out. Laundry still on lockdown as well. So many angles. And Nello up close with the shotgun. Do they have the utility to clear these positions? Well, there's 2 flashes remaining for Sam, but he needs to make them count. And Users will find 1, makes it 2. It's his 3rd in the round. A sharp shot from Runner, but it won't count for much. All guns trained on that Freezer position, and it's a confident start from MNM.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm watching there, actually. Double stack Freezer, and no one's electing to try and push forward. I mean, you've got to get boots on site. You've got to get that diffuser down. You're not finding the kills. MNM are pretty comfy. They even started to pull off positions around backstairs and blue. They had no pressure from those angles, so you can then really just make it difficult and lock down those laundry pushes, those freezer pushes, and it all started here from Nello. Doesn't buy it on the initial shoulder peek from Draw and then just walks straight into it. Really good nitrocell from users. And from here, 30 seconds in a 4 versus 3. Reven's still not in an awful position, but they just get a little bit stagnant, and it's a double push from Freezer Laundry, which is pretty much all opened up for MNM in terms of sightlines. They've got it all covered. A really good start defensively on Laundry Supply, which is probably what you would expect on that particular site. Now we'll go to the tertiary sites. Kid Storms to begin with, and if they win this, obviously Kitchen Meeting to follow.
Yeah, pretty concerning there from Reven, lacking fundamentals, right? Nello gets that freebie. Great positioning by him, of course, and good discipline to find that kill. But they were still working the hatch. The hatch was not even close to being open yet they're playing contact. That was not really the play. You need more pressure on that position. It is very difficult to clear it, but that was certainly a more difficult way to go about it. And then the push through Laundry, the push through Freezer was also challenging because the util was not great there from Reven. The grenades also not being utilized as effectively as they would have liked, and they need to be against a team like MNM. They're not going to let you get away with too many more mistakes in this series as we head above now for round 2. Wrath at front door needs to be mindful. Naif up close, making a call that a player has crossed. Probably wants to swing and maybe open up this round for his team, but he also knows if there's a gun trained on his position, he will be taken down. Miner as well, lurking bottom of the stairs, and this is just Reven to a T, looking to sneak in and around the map, and users will need to be careful of the backstab.
Yeah, and MNM haven't really tried to play too much into it in this series so far. They're not really getting too aggressive on the roams or on the lurk hold positions. Yeah, a little bit of presence over towards Big Tower and bot main stairs in this instance, in this round. That's pretty much required on a site like Kid Storms. You do need to show some kind of presence. Nothing over towards Kitchen though, so they do kind of give up a little bit of that vert for Reven. Can still flank late round, put the pressure on. Not a whole lot of pressure though over towards Games at the moment from Reven just yet. Wall still closed. Obviously they've got no hard breacher in this round. Not required though, especially if you do play the vert. Ooh, a lot of damage onto Nello. Manages to stay alive just barely. And it's a double stack over towards Big Window. Minute 20 in the clock. Nello tries to reposition. Runner eventually runs into the player over towards main stairs in Nave. And they do just trade each other in terms of damage, but it's Runner that comes off second best, and he'll just keep running. Nave will pretty much block off that push towards main, up towards the corridor. 60 seconds left.
And Runner there trying to lock Naif from getting back towards side, and he's been at least somewhat successful, but the proxy will give away his position. Jules elsewhere, top white stairs, now over towards Draw, going for the res as they push through in towards site. Users finds one, but he needs to find the second, doesn't spot it. So a 2v2 as the plant goes down. The Nitro though from Nello on point, and Joe taken down as well.
Yeah, didn't expect a double push from Big Window. So Users got one, probably didn't see that the second one had come through as well, hence why he dies to Sam. Well played in the end technically from Reven in the sense that they were able to at least get something to happen, because it did kind of look like a round that was going to fizzle out. They eventually hit the go button, got some good kills, got onto site, but you know, even better credit goes to MNM in response. Really good nitrocell comes out from Nello. They hit the good shots, and again, they've had this position on lock towards the corridor, towards Trophy. No one was able to get through. In that instance though, it's a 2 versus 2, 40 seconds. Look at the time. There was a lot of time still remaining in that round. So Reven tried to catch them off guard a little bit with a double stack push through Big Window. Didn't quite work. MNM will be very content with the way things have started here on Oregon. 2-0 start. And over towards Kitchen Meeting. And this ends up now looking like a big round for Reven.
Well then, if you didn't catch it in the old chat, a rehost has been called, so there will be a technical time out, a technical pause in this match, and we can sort of just divulge and quickly reflect.
Well timed for Reven, I think, in this instance. We had a technical in the last map, and at that point, I think it was 4-4. Both teams were going all right, and I don't think it would have favored either team. And I think for Reven, this is a good opportunity to maybe just talk things over and go like, well, okay, what can we do to improve? This is our map pick. This is a map we've found some good success on. Both times against Northeption, they got 3 attacking rounds, so they do have the proficiency to get attacking rounds here on Oregon. Obviously, though, MNM, a different prospect. So So far, they've struggled. 2 rounds in, over to the tertiary site, kitchen meeting. This feels like a big round, and it's a good time for maybe REVEN to just talk things over and think about how they can find a round here. If they lose this, they go 3-0 down. I think MNM are in the absolute driver's seat. So a lot of thinking here has to be done for REVEN. Not so much for MNM. Pressure off. Already 1 map in the bank at the very least. 2-0 start here on Oregon. I think they'll be pretty happy, quietly confident at this point in the series.
Just dancing a little bit.
Yeah, it's good music.
Yeah, it is pretty good. MNM though, I think they know what it's like to fight out a really tough best of 3 qualifying for this particular event in that lower bracket final against Wild. Don't need to go too in depth as to what took place during that series, but no doubt a difficult one for MNM.
I mean, even recently, they've already played 2 best of 3s at the major.
And the major, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they've got that recency experience that definitely aids them in this. They've been in this position, I guess in their case, unfortunately too many times, at least at the major. They would have preferred the more clean runs through the best of 1s, but here they are, and it does help. And in those best of 3s, they're all technically elimination games. So they've been in this position, this exact position already twice before this. So calm heads and just get through, focus in. You know what it takes to get the job done. You're the favorites. Should be winning this series, 7-4 on club if you're map pick. And a 2-0 start on Oregon. And if they win this one, especially like 7-4, 7-3, you kind of just, you don't even put this one in the archives. You just kind of move on, job done. So it's entirely up to REVEN to pick things up here. Started well on club, but really since that first half, they've dropped off quite significantly. Kitchen meeting, and the onus now entirely on REVEN to get around here.
Well then, back into the action then for round number 3, and perhaps the best opportunity for REVEN to put their best foot forward on their map pick. The tertiary sites now available for the defense. Well, they were always available, but now the most likely, or the only places remaining for the defense to go to, and it's meeting. That will be elected by MNM. A focus up above. Big focus as well on verticality as well, to look to deny entrances like garage, and pushes up the staircases as well. Once again, Capcan will see an appearance, so maybe an opportunity to chip away at the attack.
Just trying to think about sort of some of the success points for REVEN on the attack, because obviously defense is where I think they've been quite better at this tournament. Attacking wise, you know, even at times they've, you know, managed to find opening kills, get themselves a bit of a numbers advantage, but still have sort of lacked the ability to win the late round executions.
Ready to breach.
So it's a difficult prospect. If you're not winning those late round on-site fights, you're just never going to win rounds, even if you do get the opening kill here or there. Oh, they've got to improve, and well, the opposite effect happens in this one where they lose too early in the round. Both Joe and Runner eliminated so quickly. 2 minutes to go and already down 2 players. Makes it very difficult now. Love the extension up above for MNM, and it's another shot from Solotov. Feels like the round is over before it even really begun. Very much even more so confirmed by that nitrocell of users. Well, they had a whole bunch of flawless rounds in Clubhouse. They might just find one here on Oregon. Never mind, cast a curse. Shot through big window from Sam is successful onto Solotov. But he needs 4 more to go with it if he's going to find a round win for REVEN. Has 90 seconds. Very much, I'm not a believer. And I think MNM are firmly on the cusp of a 3-0 start here on Oregon. Oh, nice shot, okay.
It's not impossible, but it will be a challenge. Nath as well on top. Hatch control, but Sam with the presence.
No way.
There's
no way!
Sam! He finds the kill. It's a triple in the round, and with a minute to go, he has something to work with. We'll push up above.
Oh, Sam, he's got it! He's got the quad! I wasn't a believer at all, cuz, but I'm starting to believe. 1 versus 1. Sam, he's basically done everything perfect. He knew he couldn't just rush into sight. He had to get above and clear attic. And and he's done that. One left. 35 seconds, so still a little bit of time. Doesn't have to rush things. Could go for a rotate over towards kitchen side here. He's played this so well, using as much of the map as possible. Does he know, though? In behind his Tyrant. Oh, you almost feel a little bit there for Sam. Definitely an NT. One of the better efforts that we've seen, really, at the major thus far. Almost just single-handedly wins the round for his team in a 1 versus 5, down to a 1v1, but Tyrant, he closes it out, and it's a 3-0 start for MNM.
Yeah, I think he'd been kicking himself a little bit there in the 1v1. He almost overcomplicated it a little bit, and I have no doubt he gave away a sound cue there to Tyrant as he ran across the roof. He jumped down. Good attempt from Sam, though, able to put these players on islands. Great presence of mind to head above to Addict. First sharp shot there onto Nath, and then doubled down. A nice little transfer onto Users. So a 4K in the round, but Tyrant composed gets the final kill, and MNM get around that, to be fair, should have been theirs. It was a good start from the defense.
Certainly was. 2 kills inside the first 30 seconds for MNM onto Joe and Runner. You do feel a little bit for Sam in that moment. For him on an individual level, that was a decent try. But the round deservedly goes to MNM. 3-0 start, but it is on the defense. Reven are just trying to fight tooth and nail to scrap an attacking round or two. That is certainly required. Keep themselves here alive at the major. Back down to laundry supply here, though, for MNM, and they'll feel very comfortable here.
Joe, tell you what, exciting to watch in the early phases of these rounds. Solotov, ooh, if he had have gone the other way, may have been taken down. And Joe, staying quiet, staying patient. Does Solotov know?
Well, I think he's very... He's very baitable. Very baitable here. I'm a little bit excited because I think if Solotov plays this right, and he just baits him into the traps, doesn't have to fully commit on the contact. Oh, never mind. Well, he just fully commits on the contact. Never mind, gets the kill. Joe's gone, draws down. The round's very much going to be difficult for Reven. Where's Sam? And it's another 1 versus 5 moment.
Well, he put himself on an island, but Solotov fortifying it. The EDD as well, helping claim that second kill, I believe. So again, a 5v3. MNM looking good on this second map so far. And they'll get back to its side and they can just camp.
I love that, though. 5 versus 3. It's very easy to maybe just get super aggressive there and be like, oh, we've got them on the ropes here. Let's just rush in, send it down, see if we can get a couple of kills. But what do? They just fall back to the side. Like, hey, we've got a 2-player advantage. We can play sight. Give Reven as much time as they like up above. Doesn't matter. We've got the 2 extra players. So really measured control there from MNM to just sort of pull away from an aggressive moment. Well played from Solotov above, single-handedly. Gets the 2 kills. Sam's going to just play off of the drop here immediately in towards E-Box. That's 1. He'll catch off Solotov completely off guard in the corridor. But he lost Runner, so he loses 1. Ra's got to get his kill. That's just embarrassing.
Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. MNM doing a good job. They get back towards site. They set up their camp, not having to move all too much there at the conclusion of that round. But Solotov, the man of that round, he set himself up above. We thought maybe he'd be in a bit of a pinch. 2 players converging on his position, but he made easy work of it in the end.
Yeah. And I think MNM starting to make easy work here of Reven. 4-0 on Oregon. 2 more opportunities for Reven to find success. They will get an opportunity now on Kid Storms. As we look at the replay, Solotov, yeah, he didn't go for the bait. He knew the Joe, he had the information, played the contact, the EDDs over towards top white. As you said, very successful in dealing with draw. And how does Nalo survive this? I don't understand. We might not see it again. We don't. Even the replay operator felt sorry for Rath in that moment. Didn't want to show that one again. Basically put on a poster. 4-0 start for MNM. It's been smooth sailing. And when you kind of think back to Clubhouse as well, I mean, they had like 4 of their 7 rounds were flawless. So their best has been so far and away better than Reven's. It's not really been close. They've just had a couple of sloppy rounds here or there. Reven capitalized, fair enough. But that hasn't really been the case on Oregon. How many mistakes have we really seen from MNM?
I mean, outside of maybe throwing to the ace.
Almost.
That was about the only red flag that's hold that thought though. Wow. Runner!
Everything's gone their way.
Should be winning that fight, but Tyrant up to the task.
Yeah. It's an embarrassing moment there for Runner as well. Should have always been winning that one. Draw tries to follow in.
Attackers have located a bomb.
It has very much fallen apart for Reven. This is another good opportunity. Tucked in, lets him get the cross. Draw can't hit a single shot there. Tyrant survives, repositions. Causing so many issues there for Reven.
Two minutes then, and Tyrant will look to lock down meeting. Reven struggling to clear these positions. Bit of action elsewhere. Games wall open, but Nave playing it close by. A shoulder peek for info. Thinks better of it though, falls back. It does seem like there's a decent amount of information here for the attack, but MNM winning out these duels. Tyrant finally will fall, but Draw may not know it. I think he does. He shot down, so indicating that he knows that the Oryx has fallen. Joe looking to sneak in, but unfortunately spotted.
Tries to fire back, misses the shot. Sam, though, well, he just walks straight into that EDD. Nave, though, does lose his life. Got at least one. 4 versus 2. Make it 3, though. Joe finds the kill onto users. And obviously Tyrant on the block. A shot from Draw opens up White Stairs. Solitov in a 1 versus 2 with Joe on a very small amount of health. The Nitrocell got shot out mid-air. 1 minute remaining and Solitov has been droned out. Draw makes the push. There's Top White though. He's lost his life. Joe versus Solitov in a 1 versus 1. And Joe is very low on health. Solitov will hold. There's a drone literally just watching him. How is he not dead? Joe is taking so long. What is going on in this round? Oh, he went for the revive. He went for the revive, but they're both so low. Double red ping over towards White. Oh! What the hell was that from Draw? There's absolutely no way. I've just watched this. I can't believe it.
Oh, no.
What the hell was that?
Oh, no. And look, Reven trying their best to chuckle that one off, but the rest of the team does not look amused. Now 5-0 down, and MNM, well, they're edging closer and closer to closing out this series.
Well, okay, so I thought that Joe was going to just play off of the drone that was inside of Kids and just take on the 1v1. You've got the information, doesn't, goes for the revive, fair enough. Strength in numbers, sure, but then you give your position away. It's double stack over towards White Stairs, then it's kind of sight advantage for Solitov. And then you just blow yourself up with a nade, and then it's just GG from there. Oh, it's probably GG for their time at the major for Reven as well. 5-0 now. They have fallen to pieces. They've basically blown themselves up here, and MNM are just...
I see what you did there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, quite literally, figuratively as well. It's been rough. It has been quite rough for Reven, but look, props to MNM. They have played really well here on this second map, and there were some pretty genuine concerns on map 1, which was their pick. Yeah, they weren't looking 100% today, but they've warmed into this series. Looking better now.
3-1 start on Clubhouse for Reven. It was sort of a little bit shaky.
A little bit, yeah, but quite a bit.
It shows the strength of the team, though, when you can respond to that, because it's very easy, especially when you're favored. You start a bit slow, you give Reven a good opportunity on the first map to then kind of maybe lose a bit of that focus, lose a bit of that mentality. But their response was good enough. I like the response that I've seen from MNM, and in the end, this is a series they should have always been winning comfortably, and now are doing so comfortably. Just continues to build their confidence. Obviously, though, if they're going to make it their way to the finals, there's a lot of best of 3 still to be won.
Yeah, and we'll be awaiting the seeding at the conclusion of today to see who MNM take on tomorrow. Again, that's under the assumption that they close out this map.
Closing this one out already.
At this point, they should. Solitov inside of pit, 7-2. He's put on a masterclass in this series. He's been so damn good. And Reven, you can see they're just stalling out a little bit. And Nello, shotgun in hand, he's been rock solid. And they're just absolutely farming this attack. The canister to go out, Raph taking damage, Nafe to get that down. And now it's Runner in the 1v4.
It's turning into a demolition here on Oregon. It's not even fair to watch this 4 versus 1 for Runner. You can just hope and pray that maybe that Talon Shield will protect him for a bit longer. 90 seconds, he's got another one here on backstairs. Tyrant loses his life now in a 1 versus 3. Do we have another Sam-esque moment to be had? I think MNM won't make the same mistake this time though. They don't need to go hunting the 1v1s. Hold sight, play time, just breathe, relax, let him just run around, quite literally, for Runner. And then you'll have 6 match points. Plays the drone. He knows he's got a bit of time and gets a little bit of information, but is he going to be aware, tucked in close left, shotgun waiting for him? No, he's not. He's dead, surely. Nello, okay. First shot, not the cleanest, but got it on the second. And for MNM, they've got themselves 6 match points.
Yep.
Masterclass, and well, Reven will be going home. Where is their home? Is it LATAM? Is it the UK?
Is it the US?
I don't know really where they're going to go back to, but they're going somewhere.
They're packing their bags.
Yeah, they are leaving Copenhagen.
That is a bit unfortunate. But look, to be fair, yes, this is going to sort of mar their record a little bit, and people are going to be like, oh, Reven got smashed, they got sent home, they're so bad. To be fair, they've done an okay job at this tournament, right? They're coming in from LATAM. They got through to at least the second phase. Now, I know the big asterisk on that is that they only took down Northeption, but that's still a decent opponent, so I think they can take something away from this. And most importantly, heading into phase 2, they would have gained a lot of experience from this experience. They
would have gained a lot of experience from this.
Their XP farming.
Good one. I mean, look, to be fair, you look at some of their results, 7-3 over Northeption in the very first best of 1 on the first day. That was an upset in my mind. Coming in, I rated Northeption, so I was very much surprised that Reven got that result. Yeah, I'll give him a tick for that. 4-7 loss to Sonics. I will actually give them a tick for that, because from what we've seen from Sonics at this tournament thus far, they're very much a contending team. So that wasn't a bad performance, even in a loss. They barely beat Northeption though in a best of 3, literally coming down to the 15th round of the 3rd map. And I think Northeption probably should have got that one, didn't. And then they got smashed by Liquid, barely lost to Scars, and obviously now smashed by MNM. So a mixed result at the major for Reven, but what I will say for them, for a team that many probably wrote off early on, they made their way to the second phase. Certainly haven't gained any friends though. They've enjoyed their time here, we'll say that.
Oh, the EDDs are absolutely farming in this lobby. I tell you what, Draw, I'd love to know the damage output of these EDDs in this half as Joe gets the first. EDDs as a whole. This is Reven's first defense. I meant more so MNM. I know. Probably should have prefaced that. Some bants in the chat. That's what we like to see. Draw. The mind games. I don't think MNM are going to fall for that, but they are at a disadvantage. So we'll see how they fight back.
And obviously for Reven now, the stress of it all is probably gone out for them. You're down 6 match points. You know, it's very much unlikely from here. You can look at it 2 ways. You just treat it 1 round at a time, back yourselves in, maybe go for the miracle run to get yourself to overtime. But I've been seeing them talk in chat, and a couple of them have been, there's been some CBAs. I think they're checked out mentally. I think they've realized that they're not winning this one. MNM though, just still very much focused here. Yeah, they lost Nafe early on, not ideal, especially considering it's a solo hard breach. They can still play off Nello though, and they've still got 60 seconds. Hatches have been at least opened up with the secondary, but do need to get moving.
Yeah, I think this attack is largely going to hinge on Nello. He'll be shot calling. He can lead the charge with the Monty. Give the rest of the attack at least some breathing room, a bit of space, and additional information to play off of. 40 seconds to go in the round then. The blue shield will be cleared. Sam now has the option to fall back or to hold down the fort. 1 canister remains. And there's 30 seconds on the clock now as the Monty pushes down into Boiler.
Yeah, Proxy does give away some of that positioning. Finds the kill on to Users, and Reven looking to avoid the clean sweep here on Oregon. They don't want to get 7-0'd for the second time at the tournament.
15 seconds to go.
Current obviously struggling to push off of Nalo, eventually gets done by Wrath. And so Reven are going to find a round win here on Oregon after all. They will not get 7-0'd. Solotov, can he pad his stats a little bit? Not quite. So Reven, one on the board, and the comeback begins.
That was very jovial of you, considering that it is 6-1.
It was a little bit sarcastic.
My sarcasm rate has been quite bad the last couple of days, and you have continued to point that out.
Well, look, honestly, a somewhat decent round, I guess, from Reven. You get that opening kill. And the thing is, if they had have actually played defense in the first half, I think this would have been a largely more competitive game. We saw that back on Clubhouse. I think they played largely similar in that approach. I think having Reven attack first was always going to lead to a bit of a disaster here on Oregon, but you can see defensively, we're not a bad team on the defense, right? On the attack, though, obviously, they're not quite at the same level of the likes of MNM. But I think their strengths are on the defense, where they can look to get some of those counter punches. They can look to get some of those early contact fights. They don't mind those. Whether it be Draw, Joe, even at times Runner. I think they think of themselves capable of taking those contact fights early on the defense, and they've done okay in that department at the tournament so far. But such a long way back in this one.
5 seconds to go.
Just prolonging their time at the major, minute by minute, round by round.
Map by map.
Oh, I don't know if we're going to get map by map. Long way to go for that.
I tell you what, this would be... I think I've been casting Siege for a while now. This would hands down be the comeback if they manage to bring this one back.
I'll tell you what, if Reven win this series...
I'm not even talking the series, I'm just talking Oregon. They can get 7-0'd on the third map and it wouldn't matter. I mean, they're playing so aggressive on the defense. I love it. They back down without a fight.
That's their style, though, I think, and we've seen that enough here at the major. We probably expect that of them. And in some ways, now playing a little bit of house money. I mean, they know the pressure's off in a sense that in some ways they've already kind of lost this one. That they have to play so ultra perfect. Everything has to go their way. So the pressure's off, so they can kind of just say, screw it, let's just play our style. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, whatever. We're so far in the hole already. So why not be aggressive? Why not just back yourself in, hold these positions, look for the early contact fight, see if you can get a couple of kills onto MNM, make it difficult for them to attack. And then suddenly you get a couple of rounds, and it's 6-3, then it's 6-4, and then you think, you know what, actually, pressure goes back onto MNM, doesn't it? You wouldn't want to give up a 6-0 lead. No. So I take it one round at a time, and anything can happen. And this is where MNM's experience has to shine through. They've really got to just lock in. Forget the scoreboard, forget the fact that it's 6-1, forget that it was a 6-0. You've got to play perfectly here. And if you do that, at some point, Reven will probably make a couple of mistakes, and MNM can then capitalize.
That was unfortunate. Joe just trying to slip that magnet between the beams, but not quite being allowed to do so. Draw, shifting his position from security now to top freeze the stairs. And this is an important contact position for the defense. He is being pinched, though. Down below, Solotov sneaking forward, but he gets caught off guard, and a sharp shot there from Draw, who's been drawing out a lot of information from the attack.
I see what you did there.
I didn't even know I did that.
I think you did.
I didn't.
50 seconds left in this round. Solotov dealt with. Tyrant, though, will go for the little lurk push towards Freezer. Nade out from Users. Gumine. The push up towards top white, looking to get the kill, but it's Doe with a nice headshot. He'll play prone on top white. He couldn't get the shot to land. DMR too strong from Tyrant. Nello from below, under 30 seconds left. Reven still with a player advantage. MNM wanting to just really close this one up and move forward. Don't want this one to prolong. The Flames don't do much, though. Naif also loses his life. Nello in a 1 versus 4. There's 2. Now he's only got 2 more to find with 9 seconds left. Sees one, but he didn't quite see the other.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, 5 seconds left. No time, no chance for Nello. Reven make it 2 in a row.
Well, I tell you what, at what point do MNM start to get a little bit stressed, a little bit concerned, a little bit worried?
6-4?
You lose 4 rounds straight in Siege. That's a long amount of time. That's a good chunk of time.
And I'm not just saying that to throw a random number out. Hear me out. So, obviously, after this round, we go kitchen meeting. You win that 6-3. What's after that? Laundry supply, 6-4.
Yeah.
So, at that point, I think, yeah, it does open up the tertiary sites, but for Reven's sake, it's only 2 rounds to go. They've already won 4 in a row. They can play aggressive on the likes of Kid Storm. They've already won Kid Storm, as we just saw from there. So at that point, if it gets to 6-4, if I'm MNM, I take my tack and I talk it through, but we've still got to get there. A long way to go. This round is important, kitchen meeting, very much the tertiary site. You get through this, then you can probably get through laundry supply, and then you hit that magical 6-4. The pressure's then on to MNM. You don't want to have an absolute disaster here at the major where you give up a 6-0 lead. Close this one out, get the job done, and this is the site to do it on. Double hard breach going to be brought.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
How do Reven want to play this? So far, the aggressiveness on the defense has obviously worked out well for them, and they do look like they're kind of playing a little bit more fearless here in this second half, knowing when you're down 6-0, tournament on the line, you don't go into your shell, you actually come out of it, and you just say, screw it, let's just see what we can do. And so far, that mentality has worked for them.
So then to the tertiary site we go, and this should be the best opportunity thus far for MNM to win an attacking round and to, in doing so, lock out the series and survive here at the major.
Oh, he's not, is he?
Oh, he wants to.
Joe,
do it.
You do this, you're going to jump out of Copenhagen. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, they got droned. Probably for the best.
Ratho finds an opening kill. That's one of the hard breaches dealt with as well. Nice kill, back through security. Solotov lurks below. Won't find anything, but does make an easy entrance, at least for Nave. And he can watch the flank from Freezer.
Stay behind me!
Nello now needs to be really careful. Nafe did not bring secondary hard breach, so full pressure on him with those exothermic charges if MNM wish to open up some of these reinforcements from the defense. So he's going to play an important role in this round, just currently droning out for the team. Solotov still lurking down below. Don't mind this from MNM, but they need to pressure the defense into falling into his line of sight. Monty pushes forward, a breach on the wall to the left.
Well, Addicts is also going to be super important, so Nello does the job, does continue to open up that left side of the wall. Users watching, good angle through Addict. So something to keep in mind, obviously, for Reven. They haven't really got anyone kind of anchored down there, really watching that. That kind of now allows Nave to push through. Solotov still below, throws the nade out, minute left. MNM not messing around here. Gumine, though, just in his way. Will get shot out. All the presence from Reven defensively here is just watching meeting, and it's Nello that actually peeks out, finds a kill there on to Wrath. To double stack over towards Split as the gas babe goes out. It's easily navigated by Nave. The Gumine taken out as well by Solotov. Feels like it's just going to come down to who can hit some good shots. I think one pushed up to Addict. That was Draw. Still has actually got the shield as well. Good shot. How does that not find the kill of the users? Just stays alive, barely. And then the nade catches out Draw. This might be Reven's time at the major. Darn, it certainly will be, unless Runner can get the 1 versus 4. And to deny this plant surely will be too difficult for him, for Reven. Their time at the major has come to an end. You can say goodbye to Reven. They're done, and MNM will survive another day here at the major. They'll stay in this phase, while Reven will go home.
I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The phone in affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The phone in affection, I summon and dub it. Why you be all on my line about nothing? Why won't you go get you $1 or something? Don't hang with it who line for nothing. I see that we different, you riding, I double. I don't do discussions on bragging about hundreds. Don't go to your places, I know that they sunken. Don't call me your brother, I barely could trust it. I talked to a shorty, she bagging the bucket. And I'ma need all of my dollars on corporate, so hand me the money, I divvy the pie. I'ma give all of my people a portion to build them a fortune. I'm flipping the ride. I can't be mixy when iffy the vibe. And 40 on 50 is really the time. Why are you all on my phone like you want me? Like you wasn't pushing the kid to the side. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling.
We have an interview ready with Naif, so I want to start off with saying congratulations. You guys are still here.
Thank you.
Which is a good place to be. So I think one of the themes that seems to be consistent here in this best of 3 was frustration. So we're seeing Sam with that 1v5. We're seeing, especially on that first map that we saw Club, it didn't look too good from the start. So what's going on?
Well, for the start on Club, I think they were like, we know these guys quite well. They're quite aggressive, solo aggressive. They're not like doing it together. So I think that's what caught us off guard. Like, not caught us off guard, but it's just a bit sloppy from us at the start. They were like doing solo stuff, and we lost rounds, which we shouldn't have done. Okay. And then we got the 3-3 attack split, and then the defenses were quite easy when we started just playing together, not giving them solo picks, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, the second map was much cleaner. Yeah. Oregon really looked like you guys were very comfortable on that. But do you feel like you've had a chance to showcase your true potential as a 5-man?
Not yet. This event we've not played up until our level, which I believe that we can play at.
Okay.
I mean, we show glimpses against FaZe and against G2, but like we need that extra bit of quality to get through these games, if we want to start contending.
Yeah, what do you think is stopping you from getting to that extra bit? What is the current hurdle that you want to overcome?
I think it's just a bit of just confidence, just going in knowing that like we are good. We are a good team. We can be great, but we just got to believe it. I think that's individually we just got to all believe it, that what we can do together is we can be great.
Okay, so regardless of that, speaking of confidence, when you saw the map Vito, when you're seeing Club, you're seeing Oregon, you're seeing Villa, did it not give you a confidence boost at all?
Well, we know their map pool's not that great. I mean, they permaban bank, so do we. So, so like I think we knew which maps we were going to play. So did they. So like we screened them as well at the event, so we knew what to expect and just played our game. That was the main thing. Playing our game.
Well, you played your game on that second map, but you still have 2 more best of 3s if you want to qualify for phase 3. So in regards of your feelings moving forward, what are those like at the moment?
Well, when we find out our next opponent, I'm still getting my head around this format of who we play and what this and this can happen. So yeah, but I think that's just our next opponent. Just focus on that, and then that's it. Just game by game. That's what we've got to do now.
Well, that's a really lovely way to approach it. Game by game, 2 best of 3s left. But you guys have been doing amazing today. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
And maybe we'll see you again.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
All right, we kicked the interviewee off the desk, and now we have the analysts again. So let's start with breaking this one down, because REVEN are now going home. And I think starting off with REVEN, did we expect them to get this far?
That's a hard one.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
It's not that we expect them to go home on day 1. I mean, I know you can't physically do that, but like...
I mean, yes, you can.
They made it like... Well, I guess actually, yeah.
Yeah.
You actually can. You actually can. The format changes. Yeah, I don't know. Hard one. Yes or no?
I actually predicted REVEN to get out of their groups. Okay. In the position that they did, but it was a very competitive group. There was a lot of people making, justifications for Northeption or anybody else that was going to get out of that group. So I think, kudos to them. I think for them at the start of this expectation, had you have said, REVEN, you can get to stage 2, but unfortunately, you will exit to phase 2. Yeah. Will you be happy? They probably would have said yes.
Yeah.
So I think expectations are probably met and or exceeded there from Reven.
Okay, that's a really great place to be in. I mean, we heard it from Nate himself when it comes to MNM. They haven't hit their true potential. There is something right now that is kind of stopping them from being able to be the MNM that we've seen in EUL. So in that regards, what are we expecting from them going forward?
I mean, that was a crazy thing, right? Because, yeah, would Reven make it this far? Maybe, maybe not. But MNM, they absolutely should make it this far, if not further.
Yeah.
And they've kind of touched upon it. They need to believe in themselves as a team, as a full squad, because sometimes they have those confidence issues.
I think when MNM wants to play, they're genuinely one of the best teams in the world, you know, in terms of... There's a time, you know, through EUL, especially the last 3 months, where I've been saying, I want MNM to make that next step where we're seeing them in the semi-finals, finals of tournaments.
Yeah.
And then MNM have produced this result at this tournament so far. They beat the team that was expected to today, but the challenge will come tomorrow, the day after, in the following best of threes that they've got to play to get to phase 3. When they play their siege and they're on it, they've got the right team composition. They've got excellent players. They've got playmakers. They've got smart players on it.
Yeah.
It just all needs to come together and click. And like Nave said, if that comes with the belief, then they need to start believing in themselves.
Yeah, speaking of smart players that you're highlighting here, Solotov was one of the players that felt very crucial that time around. I mean, we're getting the stats immediately as well, Fresh. In that regard, Solotov had, I mean, cost of 67% for every single one of the players.
Hey,
yeah, there we
okay.
go.
Team effort.
I think in terms of Solotov, particularly, you know, at times where it's not clicked from them, where their teamwork and their belief hasn't been there, Solotov has been that consistent, I want to kind of say it, as a one-man army for this team, where he's carried them through the rounds. You know, I think back to that phase game. Had they got through with that phase game on day 1, it in part, like in a large part, would have been due to Solotov's individual performance. He played well in the first map, he was MVP in that one, and then he's played well in the second map again today.
I fully agree with you, but also look at this, look at Nello, 11-5.
Yeah.
We're kind of critical. Nello has had a relatively quiet tournament so far. He's played a supportive role, those unsexy, a lot of time on drones, breaching walls, etc. But today, he really showed up when it mattered the most.
Yeah, well, best of 3, that's what we said, MNM's strength lies, so they still have 2 best of 3s heading their way.
Yeah.
It feels like they're kind of slowly falling into place when it comes to how we're expecting them to perform, so do we have high hopes?
I've got hopes that I think we could see them on the main stage. I think the one high hope and the reason that I think that is their map pool. You know, Nave said it, they only perma van bank, they play 8 out of 9 maps, so they can pivot wherever they need to in the map bans to get to a good map.
I think it's going to depend on opponents, right? Who do they face next? As they've said, they don't even know that yet because of the system currently, so we'll have to find out.
Yeah, well, we still have one more best of 3 coming your way, and it's going to be Falcons up against M80. Another game for elimination. One of these teams is going to be going home, so if you want to find out who that's going to be, you will stay tuned because we're going to head to a break, and we'll be back shortly.